Hi everyone, it's Ruby G. Welcome back to Truth and Neurons. Today I want to talk about the way Brian Kohberger has been portrayed. Prior to and since his incarceration, so-called experts have been quick to label his behaviour as psychopathic or sociopathic. Yet none of them have ever spoken with him, let alone carried out a proper assessment. This is despite his documented diagnosis of autism, OCD and developmental coordination disorder. These sweeping claims not only dismiss his actual conditions, but also overlook both the weakness of the evidence and the sheer physical demands that the state's theory places on a human body. So to put this into context, let's rewind to the motion in limine hearing that took place shortly before the plea deal came into play.
Concerns that the defense may say something like the state's trying to kill Mr. Kohberger. Defense may say something like the state's trying to kill Mr. Kohberger. Something of that nature, as I understand.
Yes, Your Honor. There has been a history in this case of that mischaracterization of 18-4004A. We're just hoping that mischaracterization is not made in front of a jury.
Let's call a spade a spade. Ann Taylor was right. The state and media friends were trying to kill Kohberger, so he took a plea deal. In the motion in limine hearing, we hear Judge Hippler address Ashley Jennings, discussing how the defence accused the prosecution of essentially trying to kill their client. And I believe that's exactly what was happening. This manipulation and pressure directly led to the denial of removing the death penalty, which in turn pushed Kohberger towards taking a plea deal. It seems like nobody wanted a trial. Once the plea deal and sentencing had taken effect, the prosecution and law enforcement admitted that they had found nothing. No digital evidence, no stalking, no way to even place him at the scene, apart from the questionable fruit of the poisonous tree DNA. There was simply nothing. When the prosecution and media conflate autism with psychopathy, they're not just displaying scientific ignorance, they're weaponizing neurological difference. I want to address the dangerous conflation of autism spectrum disorder, ASD, with concepts like psychopathy and sociopathy. Let's be precise about what the DSM-5 Psychiatry Diagnostic Bible actually tells us. Autism spectrum disorder is a well-defined neurodevelopmental condition characterized by persistent challenges in social communication and interaction, alongside restricted and repetitive patterns of behaviors, interests, or activities. These patterns typically emerge in early childhood and can cause clinically significant challenges in social, occupational, and other important areas of functioning. What the DSM-5 does not associate with ASD is any predisposition towards violence or criminal behaviour. As we see prison footage of Kohberger, he moves slowly, showing signs of OCD, and he appears to lack the dexterity required to pull off such a crime. Autistic individuals typically have intact moral reasoning. Their social difficulties stem not from a lack of concern for others, but from differences in processing social information. When prosecutors subtly, or not so subtly, blur those diagnostic lines in cases like Kohberger's, they're not engaging in legitimate clinical analysis. They're exploiting cultural misunderstandings about neurodiversity to prejudice juries. We see this in the courtroom when autism traits like intense focus, difficulty with eye contact, or literal communication styles are reframed as evidence of callousness or calculation. And for anybody that says that this isn't happening, they only need to look at the media for the evidence. The prosecution's behaviour is echoed through the media. Regarding the term murder, recognises how loaded language can strip away the presumption of innocence, particularly when a defendant already faces an added burden of neurological difference. So as we analyse the Kohberger case, I would urge you to maintain this clinical clarity. Autism spectrum disorder is a well-documented neurological condition with specific diagnostic criteria that do not include violent tendencies or moral deficits. The casual conflation of ASD with concepts like psychopathy is not just scientifically inaccurate, it represents a dangerous form of prejudice that threatens the foundations of fair trial for neurodivergent defendants. This isn't merely an academic distinction, for when we allow prosecutors to transform autism traits into sinister evidence, we're not just endangering individual defendants, we're perpetuating harmful stereotypes that affect millions of autistic individuals who already face significant social challenges and discrimination. That's all for today's episode of Truth and Neurons. If you found this analysis helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below with your thoughts on the ethics of media commentary in high-profile cases. Until next time, keep thinking critically and questioning everything. Cheers, bye!